Hello and welcome. I am Chakshu Roy and you're watching Laws in the Making on Rajya Sabha TV. Today on the show, we are discussing the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Bill 2020. To discuss the bill, I have with me Dr. Archana Mishra, Associate Professor, Safdarjung Hospital, and Dr. Sumita Ghosh, Additional Commissioner, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The law in India provides a time period of 12 weeks in which pregnancies can be terminated. This period can be extended to 20 weeks in certain cases. This has resulted in women resorting to unsafe abortions, which can lead to complications, sometimes even death. With advances in medical technology for safe abortions, the bill amends the 1971 abortion law to increase the upper limit for terminating pregnancies.
Abortions are carried out in India as per the 1971 Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. Under the Act, pregnancies can be terminated up to 12 weeks if they pose a harm to the life and well-being of the mother. It can also be terminated if there is a risk for the child to suffer abnormalities at birth. If two medical practitioners advise, pregnancies can be terminated up to 20 weeks.
Overall, abortion is an extremely safe procedure. Of all the reasons for maternal death, probably abortion is the easiest and the safest issue that can be addressed. But today we still have 8% of maternal deaths due to unsafe abortion. And it depends where, because abortion is not easily available, it's not available right at the village level. Women and families tend to have abortions through a backstreet abortion provider, through quacks. That's what makes abortion unsafe.
Abnormalities detected late in pregnancy and pregnancy as a result of sexual violence beyond 20 weeks are not covered under the law today, forcing women to resort to unsafe abortions. The amendment bill increases the upper limit to 24 weeks for certain categories of women. This will be defined in the rules under the Act.
The consequences of termination at 24 weeks are like termination at 20 weeks, which is a late term abortion as it is called, that is after 12 weeks. So at 20 weeks or 24 weeks, the risks of abortion will increase if they are performed at either by untrained people, because the procedure of performance of abortion at late term is very tedious. If you perform abortion before 12 weeks, it's a simple OPD procedure and the patient can go home the same day. But at 12 or at 20 or 24 weeks, the procedure is like a mini delivery. So as such, risks involved are same at 20 weeks also and at 24 weeks. And the time taken to complete the process of abortion is longer.
A pregnancy can be terminated beyond 24 weeks when substantial fetal abnormalities have been diagnosed by a medical board. A medical board will be constituted in each state and union territory under the bill. It will include a gynecologist, a pediatrician, a radiologist, and any other member as states see fit. Other functions and powers of the board will be notified by the government.
Dr. Ghosh, I wanted to start the program with you and ask you to walk us through how has the medical termination law of pregnancy law evolved in the country?
Very good question. India is one of the first countries, I would say one of the first 15 countries to legalize abortion. As back as in 1971, there was a committee formed under Dr. Shantilal Shah, and he recommended that certain, because of the unsafe abortions that were happening in that time in the country, a portion of that can be taken out of the realm of criminality and be legalized so that the unsafe abortion decreases. So in 1971, the act was passed, Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, and it was one of the most liberal acts for that time. But with evolution of technology, passing of time, we felt that certain kinds of amendments and increasing in the gestational age is required. So the process started, and around 2013 the consultation started with various stakeholders. We consulted a wide range of stakeholders, including the central ministries, the state governments, the NGOs, the various professional organizations, also various organizations which are involved stakeholders in this process. So after various modifications around end of 2018, the present bill in the present form was formulated, and it was in early 2019 it was presented to the Law Ministry. So then the election was in the offing, so we had to wait for some more time. When the new government came, again a process of consultations took place, and finally the bill was ready 2019, and it is now 2020.
The cabinet has approved it. Is now been
cabinet
introduced?
approved it 29th of January 2020, and now it is in the Lok Sabha for it has already been introduced. And for discussion.
Dr. Mishra, you are associated with one of the biggest hospitals in Delhi, and from you I wanted to understand what are the practical aspects of termination of pregnancy that women go through when a pregnancy has to be terminated.
I would like to say medical termination of pregnancy is considered in our country as a reproductive right of the woman, and that's very nice also, because women should have a right on her body, and the baby which is coming should be wanted in every family or whatever it's, and the vulnerable woman specifically, it's really very, what you say, it's a very emotional component also attached to it, that they don't want this pregnancy. And this medical termination of pregnancy, of course it is a sane decision, it has to be very mature decision. For vulnerable woman it is an inevitable thing. But for other women, what we all gynecologists say, that if a pregnancy is unwanted, it should be prevented. But because of the, what you say, failure of contraception or something like that, if the pregnancy happens and you have to get it terminated, then it should be terminated early. So if you ask for, what you say, what are the aspects, what can happen to the woman? So early termination of pregnancy is always better. If you say at a later days, there are always hazards, but for that particular category of the woman, vulnerable woman, I think it's a welcome move.
Okay. Dr. Ghosh, in your opening remarks, you also referred to how India was one of the first countries to have a law on the subject. What are the current state of, statistics, so to say? What is the safety net for women? How many of them, are going through unsafe abortions or safe abortions? What is the fatality rate or the mortality rate? If you can talk a little bit about that.
See, if you ask me about what is our position in the world, so there are still now 26 countries which do not allow abortion under any circumstances, like even for the life of the woman. There are countries which allow only for saving life of the woman, like Bhutan, like Brazil. Some countries they allow on health grounds of the woman only, and in that we have in our neighboring Pakistan, Malaysia. Our country is one of the very liberal ones which allows it under very broad and economic and social and health and fetal grounds. We call it eugenic, therapeutic and humanitarian grounds. So that way we are very liberal, and the present amendments proposes to make it more liberal at the same footing as at countries like Canada, where it is allowed. In our country now we are going to we proposed it that under fetal if there is a substantial fetal anomaly, it can be done any time. I think very few countries have that kind of this thing proposition. As far as safety is concerned, the law is there for almost 50 years now, but again it legalized up to 20 weeks as you said in your this thing presentation. But unsafe abortion still is an issue, very challenging issue for maternal mortality. The figures say that almost 8% of maternal mortality is due to unsafe abortion, illegal abortions, though the act is already there. I would say mortality is 8%, but morbidities, as she said, morbidities are much higher, because once something is done illegally in an unsafe way, the infections, the other complications that obstetric that stay with the woman, she can become infertile also, and that if that morbidities are taken into account, then unsafe abortion is a very hazardous.
The cost to women is much higher.
Yeah.
Dr. Mishra, can you lay out for us how does currently the regulation for termination of pregnancy work in the country?
For medical termination of pregnancy, there has been one more amendment which we were introduced in 2001. That is medical methods of abortion. That was also a very nice thing, because I am using your channel just to tell people that it is totally legal. You can come to a government institute for medical termination of pregnancy by medical methods, that is by drugs only, which can be done up to 49 days of the pregnancy, and that is very safe and effective. Then up to 12 weeks we have surgical means and medical means. By both means we can terminate the pregnancy. In medical means we have 2 drugs, and by surgical means patients who are willing for permanent method of sterilization and everything, and that is also a good idea. After 12 weeks and till 20 weeks and now 24 weeks, we can use medical methods. It will be more towards the, for a layman, I would like to say, just like delivery, because the baby is almost formed. But I have told you about the hazards. If somehow these medical means fail or infection set in, then we have to go for surgical means, that is called hysterectomy. And hysterectomy is a hazardous thing as per the health of the patient also, and for future implication on the reproductive life of the woman. So I previously also said that abortion is a mature decision. So if it could be prevented, the best. But if could not be prevented, then at least we have a law. It could be done legally at the places where at least it could be done by aseptic means, and the life of the woman is not in hazard.
Okay. Dr. Ghosh, in recent years, we've also seen courts intervene on multiple occasions on issues related to termination of pregnancy. What have those court cases been, and why, did the need arise for people to go to courts in certain cases?
Yeah, as has been discussed, 20 weeks was the upper limit of medical termination of pregnancy, and under section 5 there was one clause that when it is immediately necessary to save the life of the mother, then this act 20 weeks limit will not apply. That means for life saving measures it was allowed only for the saving the life of the mother. What happened recently, we had many cases. If I am remembering correctly, 26 cases in Supreme Court itself, Honorable Court, and around 200 cases in various high courts. What happened, this 20-week gestation was proving insufficient for some, because the technology has evolved. Basically these cases were cases which were late diagnosis of fetal anomalies, serious fetal anomalies, where the mother would not like to give birth to such kind of serious anomalies. So they had no option actually.
And the court then had to intervene to ensure
the
that the
court had to intervene. They had to go to the court, and the court on case to case basis it ordered the
termination of pregnancy.
It referred to a medical board in tertiary institutes which he constituted,
Okay.
and then depending on the board decision they were ordering. And other cases were one was fetal anomalies, and another was this cases of rape, incest,
And assault.
minors who in the early stage would not divulge which will be divulged a little late,
Later.
and then it becomes beyond 20 weeks. So these were the two basic kinds of cases which were going to courts.
Okay, it's time for us to head into a break. When we come back, we will discuss the criteria for medical practitioners performing abortions and privacy provisions for women who end their pregnancy. Welcome back. On the program today, we're discussing the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Bill 2020. The bill increases the upper limit of terminating pregnancies up to 24 weeks. Pregnancies can be terminated even beyond that on the advice of a medical board.
The law today considers anguish caused to married women by an unwanted pregnancy a risk to their mental health. The bill extends this provision to unmarried women. Pregnancy in this case can be terminated up to 20 weeks.
About 45% of abortions globally are deemed unsafe, and more than 22,000 women and girls die each year after undertaking an unsafe abortion. Now, complications and risks due to unsafe abortions are high for all women, especially the adolescent group. They are at more risk. Now, within this group, those who are very, very young, those who are primigravida, and the very poor, they are even at much more higher risk. Now, short-term complications include cervical or vaginal laceration, pelvic infection or abscess, hemorrhage, perforation of uterus or bowel, and also septicemia. Now, major emergency surgical interventions are often required, and these are either not available or not accessible to the disadvantaged sections of society. So thus, unfortunately, in many cases, severe long-term complications like reproductive tract infections, pelvic inflammatory disease, chronic pain, and also 20 to 40% of cases lead to infertility.
The advice of 2 medical practitioners will be required for abortions between 20 to 24 weeks. Advice from 1 medical practitioner would suffice for pregnancy up to 20 weeks. The 2003 rules under the Act require training in gynecology and obstetrics to qualify as a medical practitioner. The current law imposes a prison term of 2 to 7 years for abortions conducted by anyone other than registered medical practitioners.
If you do an analysis of all the global laws, there are 60 laws in 60 countries. Abortion laws prescribe a gestation limit. Out of that, about 55% of them, that is more than 30 countries, have permit abortion beyond the 20 weeks up to 24 weeks, and in some cases even 28 weeks.
The bill provides privacy to women opting for abortion. It prohibits the medical practitioner from revealing the name and the particulars of such women. Violation of these provisions would be punished by imprisonment of up to 1 year or fine or both.
Dr. Mishra, I wanted to start the next segment with you, and if you can, tell us what are some of the important changes that this new bill is bringing in the termination of pregnancy law.
Yeah, there are a few right things. Initially, also we know that confidentiality is a must. But now in this bill, now we know that there is a penalty also associated with this. Confidentiality is a right of the patient, because even in present scenario, there is little taboo attached with the termination of pregnancy. Second thing is training in obstetric and gynecologist. I'm really sorry to say, even in present scenario, we are having more than 35,000 gynecologists in India, but people are resorting to people who are not trained in medical termination of pregnancy, and it has been performed by people who are not having these degrees, and they are performing at places which are not having desired standard of aseptic precautions and the facilities to save the woman if any complication occurs. So this was also in the previous bill, but presently the prison and the penalty, that will also improve this thing. And second very nice thing is that that unmarried woman can also opt for medical termination of pregnancy for the failure of the contraception things. Initially it was difficult, and for the minor one, now they can decide for themselves that signature of guardian is not a must now. So although it should be.
I would like to.
Okay, Dr. Ghosh, you want to intervene there and clarify something? Yes.
Yeah, you are very right that privacy has been strengthened, and training, of course, it's not in this act. We have not said anything, but we have said that rules will define it. And third thing, minors will still need that consent part has not been removed, but because what has been removed is like we proposed that 20 they can go up to 24 weeks, because minors are the ones who mostly are reluctant to disclose early
Are
or
more
some
of a vulnerable position.
Pregnancy is not divulged at the right age. When they come to the hospital, they are almost 4 or 5 weeks,
that is
5
a
months
big-
pregnant already.
Yeah.
And then going to the court, it increases the time span. So sometimes the pregnancy has to carry it up to term.
Okay. Dr. Ghosh, what was the rationale behind, some of the amendments that have been brought into the new bill?
Yeah, the first I would go into the provider requirements. There has been two changes in that. One is that previously till 12 weeks one doctor was required, and from 12 to 20 weeks opinion of 2 doctors were required. Now what has been done is till 20 weeks only one doctor opinion is required. Actually that will help us in our public health system, because often lower facilities, they do not have 2 doctors. So those facilities we could not utilize for providing comprehensive abortion care services. So that will be a big advantage, that only one doctor will be able to do up to 20 weeks. Trained doctor, of course, not trained, all are to be done by trained doctors. Second thing is this 24 extension up to 24 weeks. Here we are saying that certain categories of women, like victims of rape, survivors of incest, rape, and especially minor girls, they often were going to they had to go to court and get it done at beyond 20 weeks. So for them we have disabled, mentally not so well women, so they decide late, they come to know of their pregnancy late. So for them we have increased up to 24 weeks. And most importantly, if there is any pregnancy which is detected with substantial fetal anomaly, means the fetus is either not going to survive, or if it happens to survive, it will be maybe for a short time or with lot of serious handicap. So for them we have made it that no upper limit. That means any time, even if it is diagnosed late, they can be terminated, provided a medical board specially constituted for this will they have to opine and they have to give their go ahead. And the thing which was pointed out on the screen, that medical board rules again will be framed properly. We have not yet framed who will be in the medical board, so that will be at the state level, and already we have many medical boards because of the court cases, but it will be legalized and it will be properly in the rules will define how it will be formed and all. And one thing is privacy requirement, and the other thing, as she said it will be open to all women.
Okay. Dr. Mishra, we are talking about, Dr. Ghosh was referring to fetal abnormalities, and when you and I were talking earlier, you referred to as to how the time becomes very crucial in terms of detecting these abnormalities. Will you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. As I would like to tell you that fetal organogenesis, that making of the organs, it is usually complete by 16 weeks. 1 or 2 organs where anomalies cannot be detected at that age, such as in heart, we will like to have another scan at 24 weeks to be very sure whether there is any abnormality or not. So usually it's the practice of the gynecologist to tell their clients to get a level 2 scan, what we call, to detect congenital anomaly of the baby. This is a detailed scan, it's not like other scans, takes time, every organ has to be seen at 18 to 20 weeks. But usually people take appointment of radiologist and then get it done, and when they come to know about congenital anomaly, there is some time to sink in that thing. It takes time, and they come to the doctor for this thing. for termination of pregnancy, and then they are given their option and everything, and usually it is somewhere up to 20 weeks or more than that. Then there are some unfortunate people who the mindset is like that they will get ultrasound done in the later weeks only. Sometimes large hydrocephalus, there are a number of things which we see that, and we feel very helpless for this patient, because now this patient has to carry her pregnancy till term, knowing that the baby is going to be handicapped, the baby is not going to be to survive, and it is going to create a lot of financial burden on her and her family keeping this baby. But before this bill, we were not having much options for them. So I would like to say to all gynecologists that it has to be suggested at right gestation, and after this bill we can make use of this thing to just decrease the burden of congenital anomaly in our society.
Okay. Dr. Ghosh, so this is clearly a federal law or a central law, and then it has to be implemented onto the ground. So what kind of rules and regulations are then required for this law to be easily implemented and properly implemented onto different states?
Yeah. So once this bill is enacted, within 6 months we will be framing the rules about it. Basically rules in regarding the recent, already rules are there. In this recent this thing will in the rules will define who are the different categories of women who will be from 20 to 20 who will be eligible for getting this benefit of extension. Then what kind of fetal anomalies which will be actually the medical boards will decide upon that serious fetal anomalies. And the third thing is the constitution of the medical board. So this will be defined in the central act only, central rules only, and the states will be in the in the medical board constitution. As per the central guideline and central rule, they will have they have to engage it, they have to notify what is the constitution of the medical board in each state, and preferably we would suggest many boards so that they can take care of the
volume of cases, and also they are closer to people so that people can access these boards.
The time is not lost in decision making. So all this will be framed in rules, and states will be, it will be given. We will also have guidelines, standard operating procedures on this, so that states will be guided properly.
Okay. Dr. Mishra, one of the things that I wanted to understand from you is what will be the impact of this law on gynecologists or doctors who work in this field?
As a gynecologist, I would like to say that we have been demanding this law, this regulation for a very long time. Our Federation of Obstetric and Gynecologists of India, it has been a prime demand of us for a very long time, because we are closer to the patient. We see the mental harassment of these patients when they come to know that this pregnancy is not going to outcome in a healthy baby, but they have to carry it, and later on sometimes we have to perform cesareans also for such babies. It is very painful for the patient. So now this law has come. I think this law has to be used in a very judicious manner, very ethically by the all the gynecologists, and very important thing is that people should know about this law.
Okay. Dr. Ghosh, very quick closing comments, impact on the law on people?
I think the present amendment, the law was already there and it was very liberal law, but the present amendment will keep pace with the advancing medical technology and the increasing demands and need of people and the changing social norms, and it will be very, it will benefit big, it will increase the ambit of women who can take benefit of this now.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Thank you, Dr. Mishra, for joining us on this discussion. It is time for us to end the show. You can watch our shows on the RSTV page of YouTube. We will be back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.